Hey there everybody, hope you're well. It's Martin here and welcome to part 4 of this 7-part series for parents, for dads, moms, carers who also happen to be senior leaders, managers, business owners, and they've got their eyes set on the school holidays, their summer vacation, and they want to go on holiday feeling good, feeling refreshed, feeling excited, not overwhelmed, stressed, exhausted, and gonna need the entire holiday to actually recoup but not be present with their family. We don't want any of that. We're setting ourselves up to actually have an amazing holiday. But this is also a microcosm, if that's a word, of how you achieve anything in business and personally. So we have got a quick recap. We've got clear of what it would feel like when we step into our holiday, off the plane, off the train, out of the car, whatever it might be, what that feels like. We then got clear as to the deep why it was really important that we go into that holiday clear and excited and not distracted by work. Got really clear on that. And then last week, we started shifting our mindset about work, that we weren't there to do everything. That whole like, oh my goodness, I'm not looking forward to the holiday as such because I've got so much to do beforehand. Or indeed some of those people that, yeah, I'm looking forward to the holiday, but really it's because I want to escape the day-to-day life that I'm in because everything just feels like it's out of control. So we're trying to get back into control. So last week was all about shifting our mindset to go, right, I'm not here to do everything. I'm here to make the biggest difference to the organization, to the division, to the department, to the project that's my responsibility. And just then see how that shifts how you're looking at your work, your meetings, the time you're spending, your energy that you're spending on things. So I'd love to hear what those were, what those outcomes were, if you haven't shared them already. And remember, time is a ticking, but if you want to talk any of this through, if you want some more personal support on this, then please do reach out. It's how most of my clients do reach out to me first before we talk. They just send me a message. I saw the videos and I do want to turn things around. I do want to get more balance. I do want to get more in control of work. And can you help? Can we have a talk about it? So if that's you, then please do. Right. Part 4 of this. So we've got clarity. We've got the why. We're now looking at things about making the biggest difference. And I promised you that this one would be about workload, because that is the thing that most people are, for want of a better word, stressed about, if we're getting honest, okay? So let's not be shy of using that word, okay? Because it happens. But we've got so much to do. And I liken this to a jigsaw puzzle. So if you think about a jigsaw puzzle in front of you, almost like a virtual one, it's all in front of you. It's like Minority Report, if you know that film. God, that's a movie from way back when. All the jigsaw puzzles. And I tell you what, some of these jigsaw puzzles are flipped over, so you can't even see it, right? Some of them are actually, they've fallen off. And some of them, get this one, some of them aren't even jigsaw puzzles for your puzzle. They're somebody else's. Does this sound like your to-do list? Does this sound like your action list? The list that you got? Because that's probably what it is. It's just a list. It isn't a to-do list because it's too long, right? You've got 97 different things in front of you. And this is really important because this is my distinction. This is how I see it, okay? This is the distinction between a manager and a leader. And I'm going to be honest with you, I want you to be a leader. Because a manager looks at all these 97 things and is literally just moving them all along like this, just moving around, trying to juggle everything. And then occasionally one fits into place, but they're still juggling all these things, moving all the pieces around. That's my kind of metaphor for a manager. A leader, on the other hand, and by the way, a leader is not hierarchical in terms of an organization. Being a leader is a quality. It's a skill. It is not the hierarchy. But obviously, I do talk to an awful lot of senior leaders. And they admit to me after some time working with me, they say, actually, I can see what you mean now. That actually, I was a senior manager. I was just managing things. I wasn't actually leading. But now I'm leading. And here's the difference. The manager is like this with all the pieces. The leader will look at all the pieces and then go, that. That right there, that's what we need to work on. That's the thing that needs to use our energy, our time, our resources. A leader is able to do that. They've still got the same amount of stuff in front of them, but they will go that. They're able to make that decision. Now, how are they able to make that decision? They ask different questions. And they also have that self-awareness that they can't do everything. It's not possible to do everything. And even within an organization and a team, it is very often the case where the capacity of that team or division or even the company cannot do everything that is in front of them. So choices and decisions have to be made. This is the difference between a manager and a leader. And I so desperately want you to be a leader, because when you're a leader like that, you are more in control of your time, your work, your energy, and you will get better balance. You will have more confidence. You will feel more calm. Now, how do they do it? They ask different questions. So I want you to ask this week 3 questions of everything, right? Your meetings, the workload, everything on the list. 3 questions. And a couple of these are going to sound familiar because they're so important. First question I want you to ask is why? Why are you doing this piece of work? Now, why comes in 2 forms. Why are you doing this piece of work? Because sometimes it ain't even it's not your piece in the jigsaw puzzle. But why are you doing it? Is it because you feel like you need to prove that you're doing loads of stuff? Is it because you could delegate this, but it'd take them longer, and so you just think, oh, it'd be easier if I just get it done myself? Or you're worried that somebody else is going to make a mistake, in which case you're like, oh, I'll just do it myself. And your list adds up and up and up and up. Why are you doing it? First off, okay? And also, as a second part to this, why is this piece of work, or why is this meeting required in the first place? Why? Really? When it comes to, remember we said about when it comes to the biggest difference, you have to understand what the priorities are. You have to understand what the objectives are, the aims are, your personal, the team, the division, the company, the project you're involved in. You need to understand the objective of this. So why are you doing it? Is it adding value? Is it moving the needle? Is it moving you forward? Is it making the biggest difference? We'll come on to that in a minute. Why are we doing that? Are we doing it because it genuinely is adding massive value, and the biggest value that I can add in that time? Or are we doing it just because we've always done it? I mean, come on. How many Monday morning meetings? Again, from my own experience, 8:30, Monday morning meeting. Let's talk about our figures. And it was just a round robin of everyone going, we did this and this was our figures. And no real action came out of that meeting. And yet we were having to show up at 8:30, which, by the way, was in the middle of the school run. Not cool. It was just a whole bunch of one-upmanship, and nothing really came of it. And I tell you what, it took months, years, for that meeting to finally be dissolved and said, you know what, this ain't adding value. Please don't wait years. There will be things in your diary that when you question the why the heck we're doing this, you're going to realize that you don't need to be there. Either you don't need to be there, or it doesn't even need to happen in the first place. Start questioning why. Again, a leader that is going to go that. There's going to be a really, really strong why as to why we need to focus our effort and energy on that. Not everything has a strong why, no matter how people shout, scream, stomp their feet, and tell you how urgent and important it is. Why? Start asking why of everything. Second question I want you to ask is, what's the consequence of this not getting done? Now, again, this can be, what's the consequence of this not getting done at all? Because I tell you what, some things fall into that category, and it's like, there isn't, and it's not really adding much why, so why the heck are we doing it in the first place? Sometimes these things have got a deadline, and please, please, please make sure you understand whether it's a real deadline or not. One of the things that really agitated me. So I use that word. Back in the corporate days was false deadlines. You'd bust a gut to get something done by a certain date or a certain time, only for it to not really be required until next week. When you start, again, what do leaders do? They are challenging, well, what's the facts behind this? What's the factual why? What's the impact that's going to make? And the consequence of this getting done or not getting done, they're very clear on that. So we need to understand what's the consequence of it not getting done by the deadline that's been set. And sometimes you realize that it might not even be a false deadline, but there's no real massive consequence. Now, if you're like owner of the multinational company is flying in from Switzerland on Monday morning at 9 o'clock, and they're expecting a certain report, and as a result of that report, they're going to make some strategic decisions about your company or your division, your department, then you better realize that that is your priority. That has a huge why, and there's a huge consequence if you don't get that thing done. But I tell you what, the amount of things that do not fit into that category, and yet we are treating them as this, they're the end of the world if we don't get them done. Start challenging what's the consequence of it not getting done. And I'm just going to throw this one in because we're talking about holiday. What's the consequence of this not getting done before you go on holiday? Because again, a lot of the stress and the pressure we put on ourselves at this time of year is we're trying to get 97 things done all at the same time, and all by the time we go on holiday. But the reality is, life carries on after you go on holiday. People might be able to carry on the work. It might wait. So sometimes we can put false deadlines on ourselves, and that is not going to help us. So start challenging the stuff. And when you start asking these questions, you're going to start getting different answers. You're going to start whittling down that big old list that's completely, overwhelming you and unrealistic. You're going to start realizing that actually some of these things don't have the weight that I thought they had. Your workload is going to start decreasing, or the work is still there unless you suddenly start going, you know what, I don't even know why we're doing that. Or what it'd be is many of the things are still there, but they now lack that urgency. So we now need to focus on the stuff that's really, really, really important. The stuff that the question 3 is, what's left? What's going to make the biggest difference? So again, tapping into whatever the aim, the objective of the company, the division, the department, the project is. Now looking at, right, in front of me, what's going to make the biggest difference? And we're asking this of our meetings, we're asking this of our work. And when it comes to priorities, because I see this a lot, and it's like, oh, we got 10 priorities, and here's our top priorities. In my view, you can only have one priority. There is only one true thing that has the biggest why, the biggest meaning, the biggest purpose, the biggest consequence, the biggest benefit, the biggest difference. You're there, remember, to make the biggest difference. So taking action on things that are going to drive projects in your company forward, that are going to make the biggest difference to your colleagues, to your clients, to your bottom line, to your shareholders. Those are the things that we need to focus on. All this other stuff is distraction. But we need to answer the question. So when we come back to the biggest, if I'm here to make the biggest difference, I'm asking these questions, and then of what's left is like, what's going to make the biggest difference? And generally speaking, for me, I want you to whittle your 97 things on your to-do list down to 3 things a day. I know it's a tough ask, and we're just doing this in these videos, but that's the aim. So that you truly can then be that leader to go, right, here's my focus. This is what I'm going to do. And it's not to say that that one thing or those 3 things are the only things you're going to get done. But you know that that's where you need to start. That's where you need to put the majority of your effort, your time, and your energy in. And when you do that, things can really turn around. This, my friends, is how you start getting in control of your workload. This is the thing that's putting all that pressure on you. You've just got way too much. And let me just add this finally. It is not your capability that's in question here. You are capable of doing everything on the list. It's your capacity. You just can't do it all, and you can't do it all by last Friday. I made this mistake. I kept taking it personally, that it was a failing on my part, my capability, because I couldn't get 97 things all done all at the same time by last Friday. It's not. You've only got so much time. And with the holiday season in sight, our holidays, annual holidays, should not be the only time we spend quality time with our family. I made that mistake for many years. So this is about getting that balance, and we need to get back in control of our work. So when we don't feel like we've got so much work, what this does is it makes us better with the results we get. We make a bigger difference, which is what all of us want. But we also feel more confident because we're able to go. Instead of going, overwhelmed, we go, these things, that increases your confidence, and it increases your balance because you're not feeling like you've got to work until 11 o'clock at night and not see your family. This knocks on to the next thing that we're going to talk about in the next session, which is time, getting back in control of our time. But you do that after you've shifted to right, I'm here to make the biggest difference. You shift to asking different questions of the work and the meetings that you've got. Then we're in a better place to be able to take control of our time. So have fun with this every day. Go and question everything and start realizing what's truly important, what's truly going to make the biggest difference, not just now, not just before your holiday, but in general. And this is how you start getting in control of your workload. I hope this has been helpful. If you've got questions, if you've got queries, if you want to reach out, if you want to explore personally with me, then let me know. Just drop me a line, drop it in the comments. I'm here for you. Hope you've enjoyed this episode. Every day, challenge everything, and new things come in. It's easy just to ask these questions. It is more laborious to be able to go through everything that's already there, but trust me, it's worthwhile doing, because right now you've got too much and we need to streamline that down. And it doesn't mean it doesn't get done at all, because some of this stuff can be delegated. Again, question, why are you doing it? And if it's for reasons that other than it's actually your responsibility and you're accountable for doing it, then you need to challenge and look at different ways of doing things. So have a great week. Put this into practice. Tell me how it goes. I'd love to hear your feedback, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one where we're going to talk about time. So until then, stay healthy, stay safe, and see you again soon.